Welcome back to App Stories. Today's episode is brought to you by Notion and Nom Nom. I'm John Voorhees, and with me is Federico Viticci. Hey, Federico.
Hello, John. How are you?
I'm doing really well. You know, last week we launched a new podcast. Well, not a new podcast. We welcomed a new podcast into the MacStories family, which is Magic Rays of Light with Sigmund Judge and Devin Dundee.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent addition to the content that, to the work that we do at MacStories and the content that we want to cover. Obviously, Apple TV and Apple TV Plus have been a pillar of Apple's entertainment and services strategy for a few years at this point. And you and I, we don't really have the bandwidth or the expertise or the knowledge to talk about all of that stuff. But thankfully, we've been keeping an eye on Sigmund and Devon for quite some time. They do excellent work at Magic Rays of Light, weekly show all about the world of Apple TV, Apple TV Plus, Apple Originals, Apple Arcade. If you want to know more about Apple TV, you got to listen to those guys. It's as simple as that. So I'm thrilled that we now have Magic Rays of Light on MacStories. If you are an existing subscriber, nothing has changed. You will continue getting new episodes as usual. If you were not familiar with the show before, you can go to the brand new macstories.net/podcasts page, where you can find all the podcasts that we do and subscribe links to follow them in your podcast player of choice, including Magic Rays of Light.
Yes, exactly. And I think that the Sigmund and Devin will be probably covering aspects of what we're going to talk about today here on the show, which is the Vision Pro. We're, of course, going to take this from an app-centric point of view, but I'm sure you'll be hearing more from Sigmund and Devin about the entertainment aspects of it, because that's a big part of the story as well. All right, Federico, I know you and I are getting increasingly excited about the arrival of the Vision Pro. As we record this, we have not yet ordered, although we will be by the time the show is out.
I think it's beneficial for people to know the conditions in which we are recording this and how weird this conversation is going to be time-wise. By the time this episode, so we are recording this on Tuesday, January 16th. By the time this episode is out, we will have made a decision, specifically me, whether I want to order a Vision Pro from the US or not. So this conversation, so in a few days, I will know what my future will be, and you will listen, and you will know, you will maybe follow me on Mastodon or Threads. You will know what I did. At this point, I still don't know what I'm going to do. So it's a weird time paradox, that only happens when you record a podcast.
It is. It's less weird for me because I know that the first thing I'm going to do on Friday morning is place an order, and I'm a little nervous about the supply and demand. I think that the demand will be dampened by the price, obviously, but the supply might be so short that we'll probably be in a situation that's very much like an iPhone 10 launch type of thing.
Yeah, we do have a plan for me as well.
We do. It's called Operation Vision Quest. In fact, we had to give it a good name, right?
We do have a name, Operation Vision Quest. If it works, because I don't want to jinx it, but if it works, we'll talk about our approach, which involved spare iPhones, multiple Apple IDs. We'll talk about that another
burner
day.
Phones, basically.
We'll talk about that another day. So I figured, with the Vision Pro coming out, pre-orders have opened. We are waiting for, I guess we're waiting for reviews, and obviously it'll go on sale in just about 10 days or so.
Right.
What do we still don't know? Like, what is it that is still up in the air about the Vision Pro? And what are some of the apps, like some of the software that we have seen developers started teasing on social media, over the past couple of weeks? Sort of like, let's do our Vision Pro prep episode, if you will.
This episode of App Stories is brought to you by Notion. There's no shortage of helpful AI tools out there, but using them means switching back and forth between yet another digital tool. So instead of simplifying your workflow, it just becomes more complicated. Unless, of course, you're using Notion. We've been using Notion for a long time at MacStories. We use it for big development projects to keep everybody on board with exactly what's going on and understanding who's responsible for what aspect of the project. And we use it for podcast notes for this show itself. So it's a great flexible tool for all sorts of projects. One of the things I love about Notion AI, though, is that it allows you to quickly summarize lots of data so that it's understandable and digestible very quickly. Notion combines your notes, your documents, and your projects into one space that's simple and beautifully designed. You can save time and write faster by letting Notion AI handle your first draft, jumpstart a brainstorming session, or turn messy notes into something polished. You can even automate tedious tasks like summarizing meeting notes or finding next steps. Notion AI does all of this and more and frees you up to do the deep work. And the fully integrated Notion AI helps you work faster, write better, and think bigger, doing tasks that would normally take you hours in just mere seconds. Notion is used by over 1/2 of the Fortune 500 companies, and teams that use Notion send less email, cancel more meetings, save time searching for their work, and reduce spending on tools, which helps keep everyone on the same page. Try Notion for free when you go to notion.com/appstories. That's all lowercase letters, notion.com/appstories to try the powerful, easy to use Notion AI today. And when you use our link, you're supporting our show, notion.com/appstories. Our thanks to Notion for their support of the show. Since we were just talking about ordering, let's skip down to talking about some of the questions that still remain about ordering. And I guess these will have been answered by the time this show is published. But I'm still wondering what the deal is with the glasses inserts, the Zeiss inserts, and whether that's a thing that is going to. Obviously, we know that we're going to have to upload a prescription. A glasses prescription, but are these shipping with the units? Are these shipping separately? Am I going to end up with a Vision Pro in my house that's all blurry until my Zeiss lenses show up? I'm a little concerned about that, but I don't know. We'll have to see.
My theory is that you're gonna get the inserts in a separate package alongside the Vision Pro. So you get your Vision Pro delivery. There'll be an Apple Vision Pro packaging with just the headset, and then a little package on the side with your Zeiss inserts. That would be
kind of like the original Apple Watch, where they had wasn't it separate, the band and the actual watch itself, but they were packaged together.
What was it, the original watch, or was it the watch after that they split? I don't recall. But like a separate thing on the side, and that's gonna be your Zeiss inserts. Speaking of prescriptions, I feel like it's okay to share this. John was kind enough to do research for me, because I think there's going to be a lot of our European listeners, or just listeners not in the United States, who maybe are thinking about, hey, I kind of want to buy a Vision Pro from the United States, because God knows when my country is going to, receive the Apple Vision Pro. And you may remember that Apple said, if you want to get a prescription, like if you want to get the Zeiss inserts for your prescription, you will need to upload a valid prescription from a recognized US eye care professional. So by a doctor, by an eye doctor, basically. Well, how are you going to get a prescription from a US eye care professional if you don't live in the United States? And well, it turns out, thank you, John, for discovering this, there are plenty of services, online services, websites, essentially, that offer the ability to renew an existing prescription in the US, and you just do it all online. You submit your existing, in my case, it was an Italian prescription. You confirm the little text fields here and there with the values that you have for your left eye, for your right eye. These are all based on the TABO standard, TABO. I don't know what it stands for, but that's what it's called. And then you do an online test to confirm that the glasses that you are wearing, your current prescription, is in fact good for you. And I used one of these services. I waited 5 minutes and I received a signed prescription as a PDF from an American doctor over email, and it was perfect.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think I might have done this years ago, and it was one of the things where you and I were talking about over the last weekend, and we were trying to figure out how we were going to deal with this. And it finally just dawned on me that I thought I remembered last time I ordered glasses that I had seen that this was a thing that you can do, because a lot of the online glasses sellers that I've used,
Yeah.
like Warby Parker does this, and Roca and a bunch of others, where they pair up with these services. And if you have an already existing valid prescription, you can get it renewed online. It can't be a brand new prescription. It has to be, a renewal of an existing one. But yeah, it sounds like it was a very easy process for you, which was great, because you've got a prescription that looks a lot like mine. And the thing is, the fact of the matter is that the numbers are all the same. Everything is tested according to the standard, kind of worldwide, and certainly between the United States and Europe. And it's just a matter of having it kind of formatted in the US format, as opposed to whatever your Italian one looks like.
All right. So that being said, you were also wondering about the ordering process, like to what extent will the required face scanning, how will it impact the ordering process? Like, are we gonna waste several minutes scanning our faces while ordering the Vision Pro? Now, we will know by the time this episode is out. But if I were to guess, if I recall correctly from WWDC, it was a pretty straightforward process. Like, it took me about a minute. If I recall correctly, I did like a frontal scan of my face, like a standard Face ID scan, and then I'm pretty sure I did both the sides of my head, like left ear and right ear, if I recall correctly. But it was very fast. It took me about a minute total.
The only reason I mentioned that in the notes is that, when we order iPhones, you got to move quick, right? And that can be an issue.
The real question is, can you order a Vision Pro at home in the dark?
Okay.
Without, if you are in a dark room, can you order a Vision Pro while you are in a dark room, or do you need light behind you? These are the important questions.
These are very important questions. I want to know, Federico, I actually have another one. This is another one that I was thinking about the other day when I was reading about the 2 hours of battery life or 2.5 life with video. And I thought, I have some pretty hefty battery packs around the house right now. Will I be able to just plug those in? And I'm not so sure, because...
Okay, so this is an interesting topic because obviously you and I, we love external battery packs.
We do.
And we have our good collection of portable batteries. Now, it looks like you attach the battery to the Vision Pro with a little magnetic puck to the side of the headset. And the battery looks like it has a cable that you cannot unplug. Sort of like you have a cable in the HomePod Mini that you cannot pull out because there's a plastic cover on top of it. And on the other end, it looks like a tiny sort of mini MagSafe almost attachment that you just place on your Vision Pro, and that's how it charges. Now, it reminds me of a Mac MagSafe connector in the sense that, have you ever seen, John, third-party MagSafe chargers for the Mac?
Yes.
You've seen them?
Yeah, there are some. There are some that are like
made by Apple?
Not made by Apple.
Interesting.
Well, they're not MagSafe in the sense that they don't connect to a MagSafe connector made by Apple. What they are is that before MagSafe made its return, they are USB-C.
No. What I mean is, so you buy a MacBook today. You buy a MacBook Pro. It has the MagSafe rectangular connector.
Yeah, no, there are no third-party.
Exactly. So unlike the iPhone, where you can find the third-party MagSafe chargers, because on the iPhone, MagSafe is a documented protocol that third-party manufacturers can make. It seems to me, and this is just my personal theory, that the Vision Pro battery attachment is another proprietary standard. I will be surprised if Apple opens it up to third-party manufacturers, although
Yeah.
I think they should, because what if I want to use a Vision Pro with an external battery the size of a six-pack of beer? Like,
Right. Why
let me
not?
do it. Why not? Let me do it. I work at a desk. Let me plug the Vision Pro into a giant chunky battery. I would be surprised if they document this immediately, but I will also be surprised if third parties can manage to reverse engineer that protocol,
Yeah.
because my theory is that obviously that connector will have a tiny teeny computer inside.
Mm-hmm.
There will be some kind of chip inside, just like you have connectors and proprietary silicon in the MagSafe connectors that sort of monitor the power balance of the thing. And I'm sure the battery and the Vision Pro, they will exchange more than just energy, more than just electricity. They will have some kind of basic data transfer going on, to authenticate that you're using an official battery and all that sort of stuff.
How much
So
charge is left, all that
how
kind of
much charge
thing.
is left, all that kind of information. So I
Yeah.
will be surprised if third parties can reverse engineer this, which is why, to answer your question, I don't think we're going to be able to use third-party batteries to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
wonder we don't know either what a spare battery will cost.
Yeah, because that's all information that will be available on the website, I assume, as soon as the Vision Pro launches, like spare
Right.
battery, spare light seals, and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Polishing
Exactly.
cloth. Polishing cloth is included in the box, which is very, very important news. I wonder if it's a different
Finally.
polishing cloth from the one that I have.
It'll be interesting to see how it differs. This will be my first polishing cloth, so I'm very excited about that.
I am personally very keen to try. I'm very keen to understand the keyboard and trackpad
Yes.
situation
Yes.
from a variety of angles. First of all, did you see the report that Gurman said that the software keyboard, so the virtual keyboard, is basically, he said, a write-off, that it's so hard to use, it doesn't support type like multi-finger typing, and it's hard to use, and it's basically an afterthought for Vision OS 1.0.
Yeah, I think it was described somewhere as similar to using the keyboard on an Apple TV, which is obviously not something you're going to write with.
Right, but the Apple TV doesn't support hand recognition.
No, I know, but
What
in
I'm
terms of
saying
hunting
is,
and pecking, but yeah.
what I'm saying is, and I think I shared this confession of mine before. I'm a hunter and pecker myself.
Oh,
Like
I know you are.
that's how I type. I use my left index finger and my right index finger. I was never properly taught how to type with all my fingers.
Right.
I cannot do it, and I feel like it's too late for me to learn now. Something has gone horribly wrong in my wrist muscles and my hand muscles, and now I'm wired that way.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that I'm gonna be absolutely fine with a virtual keyboard on the Vision Pro, but we'll see, I guess. I
Well,
understand why other people will hate it.
it'll drive me bananas
Yeah.
because I'm a touch typist. I don't have to look at my
Mm.
hands or anything. But that raises another question in my head. I wonder how Touch ID factors into this too.
Well, so the other part of the keyboard narrative that the keyboard angle that I wanted to cover is you can use a Magic Keyboard. All right.
Right.
You can use an Apple Magic Keyboard as your external Vision Pro keyboard. Obviously, you and I, we have our fair share of Magic Keyboards lying
Right.
around the house. I'm assuming that this will be similar to Universal Control, in that if you are pairing a Magic Keyboard with the Vision Pro, it will support Touch ID, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when you use Universal Control in your
Right.
setup, and you use the Magic Keyboard. When you need to authenticate on the iPad, something like, say, 1Password.
I think it uses Face ID.
Right, it uses Face ID. It doesn't go to Touch ID.
I don't think it does. I don't think it does.
Interesting.
You know what? This is one of those things that's so seamless that maybe I don't think about it enough to remember that correctly. But I'm pretty sure it uses Face ID.
Well, I mean, hold on though for a second. Why would we even need Touch ID if the Vision Pro has Optic ID? it's
Right, of
always looking
course.
at us.
Of course.
We're always
Yeah,
authenticated.
well, this is the
We're
kind of
thinking
yeah.
we're thinking about
it
this in the
wrong.
context. Yeah, we're thinking about it in the context of a regular computer.
Right.
But then I realized, well, why would you even need Touch ID when we have Optic ID?
Right.
But I assume we will be able to pair the Magic Keyboard from the Vision Pro settings, and then we'll see, I guess, how it works.
Yeah,
But
presumably any Bluetooth keyboard and pointing device will work too. I don't think
guess
they
usually
haven't really said.
but like if I use a Magic Trackpad, I assume, because you always have some benefits if you use the Magic Keyboard and Magic Trackpad.
Right.
So I wonder what the first party exclusive advantage will be on the Vision Pro when you use the Magic Keyboard and Trackpad. The other thing I wanted to mention, did I dream this, John? Or because we never saw this in action. I think we only saw it in the promo video. The Vision Pro will recognize a Mac open in front of you. How do you recall how that's gonna work?
No, I don't think it was ever explained. I think that was one of those things.
That's one of the other questions that we still have.
Yes, I think that's an open question that was in a press release or something, but not actually. I'm not even sure that was actually demoed. I mean,
it was never demoed.
Right. I've seen press shots and things like press release shots with pictures of people using Macs, but there's never been like a little video or anything showing how you get it up and running.
So the only thing we do know from the Apple website is that you can, and I'm quoting, bring your Mac wirelessly into Apple Vision Pro with Mac Virtual Display. You can place it anywhere in space and use Apple Vision Pro as an enormous private display. So the idea, I'm guessing, is that this will be built on the foundation of universal control, but it'll just be like fancy AirPlay for your Mac, because when it says wirelessly, obviously the Vision Pro doesn't have support for wired connections, so whether it's Ethernet or USB-C. So yeah, this will be, I'm guessing, based on the low latency screen sharing protocol that Apple has on Sonoma. Maybe that could be what they're using, or it could be something. I don't think it will be AirPlay, honestly. I think it'll be based on that work they have done in Sonoma for high definition screen sharing.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think that's probably right. But it's worth emphasizing the fact that you cannot connect things with a wire to the Vision Pro, because that's unusual, right? I mean, even an iPhone or an iPad has a USB-C connector, and you can connect accessories that way. Maybe it's a capture card for video games, or maybe it's a microphone, or maybe it's a light. I don't know, whatever it happens to be, a recorder. You just can't do that. So whatever it is that you're using with the Vision Pro is going to have to be exchanging information wirelessly with the headset.
Yeah.
This episode of App Stories is brought to you by Nom Nom. Don't settle when it comes to your dog's health. Switch to real, gently cooked dog food with ingredients you can actually see. Nutrition-packed recipes designed by board-certified veterinary nutritionists, freshly made and delivered to your door. Your pet's a member of your family. Don't feed them like they're in the doghouse. Give them Nom Nom. Nom Nom delivers freshly made dog food with every portion personalized to your dog's needs, so you can bring out the best. And it's made from real wholesome ingredients you can see and recognize, without any additives or fillers that contribute to bloating and low energy. That's because Nom Nom uses the latest science and insights to make real good food for dogs. Their nutrient-packed recipes are designed by board-certified veterinary nutritionists, freshly made and shipped free to your door. Nom Nom is great. They sent me some of their recipes, and I gave them to my brother, who has a dog, because I actually don't have a dog, but my brother has 3, and all 3 of his dogs absolutely loved Nom Nom. And I've been there when he's fed his dogs these meals, and they absolutely love them. So if you have a dog you care about, check out Nom Nom. They've already delivered over 40 million meals to good dogs like yours, inspiring millions of clean bowls and wagging tails. Plus, Nom Nom comes with a money-back guarantee. If your dog's tail isn't wagging within 30 days, Nom Nom will refund your first order. No fillers, no nonsense, just Nom Nom. Go right now to get 50% off your no-risk 2-week trial at trynom.com/appstories. That's TRYNOM.com/appstories. nom.com/appstories for 50% off. trynom.com/appstories. Our thanks to NomNom for their support of the show.
So we've been talking to developers over the past few days. We started receiving a lot of emails from developers who have been working on visionOS apps and have submitted those apps to Apple for approval. Things are moving fast on that front now.
Yeah, there's some apps that have already been improved that I know of that I've talked to people about.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, a few.
Nice. That's a good sign because obviously Apple wants to launch with a store that has a bunch of third-party apps in there. So, just as a quick recap of the Apple apps that we know are confirmed to be available on the Vision Pro as native experiences. So we know that obviously TV Plus, Music, Safari, Photos, Freeform, Notes, Mindfulness, Mail, Messages, FaceTime, and Keynote will be there as native visionOS experiences. Notably absent from here, reminders, shortcuts, and the rest of the iWork suite. So Pages and Numbers, it looks like they will not have native visionOS versions at launch. And I don't know what to think about this.
I don't either, especially since they do have Keynote. So obviously there's a notion here that this will be used for productivity and like work type stuff, but not having things like Numbers or a more robust text editor, word processor, is a little strange.
Yeah, I don't know what it says about Apple and those teams, if it's just a matter of time. Do we need to read into this, into the absence of these apps, that some of the teams at Apple are not committed to visionOS as a platform?
Or maybe just not in the loop is what I expect is more likely.
I mean, it's been, multiple years, and we got the announcement at WWDC. I don't know.
Yeah.
It is a little odd, whatever the reason may be. It is a little odd to have a major new platform from Apple with all the emphasis on how revolutionary this product is, and to not see some of the key, and let's even disregard shortcuts for a second, but I mean reminders and Pages.
Yeah,
that is very strange to me.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be interesting to see where those apps, if we see them anytime in the near future or not. It's another thing that I think is interesting is I know someone told me recently, a developer told me that PWAs are not going to be possible as part of Safari, which are the progressive web apps that on a Mac, for instance, you can save to the dock, or on an iPhone or an iPad, you can save to the home screen, that those won't be available, the reason I mention this is because I know, talking to some of the people in the club Discord, someone had mentioned, well, if certain apps aren't available, so many things are web services now, you can probably just make a bunch of web apps and use Notion or Slack, Slack's going to be on the platform day one, but Notion or whatever it happens to be that you're using a little PWA, and that is not the case.
Yeah, and for example, Netflix. Apple a few days ago pushed this press release confirming some of the entertainment services that will be available at launch. Disney Plus will be in there, ESPN will be there, Amazon Prime Video. Max will be there.
Yeah.
Hulu, if it's part of our Disney Plus bundle. But Netflix is not in the list of compatible supported services at launch with native apps. And that comes, I think, with its own baggage, right? Over the past few years, developer relations between Apple and Netflix, and, all this sort of antitrust investigation that Apple is under. I'm sure that at a high level between executives, all this drama that unfolded over the past few years maybe hasn't helped Apple's case in terms of getting major developers on board with the Vision Pro immediately as an unproven entity right now, right? And if you're on Netflix and Apple comes to you after all and it's the same reason why I doubt that Spotify will be on board anytime soon. But imagine if you're Netflix or Spotify and Apple comes to you and they're like, hey guys, water under the bridge. Do you want to make an app for a platform that maybe will sell 100,000 units in the first few months? And after all the problems that those companies have had in terms of app store regulations and the Apple Commission, the anti-competitive lawsuits, I don't want to say that they laughed in their faces, but I got to imagine that the reaction was something along those lines.
Yeah, I think they'll probably say, no, we're good with our iPad app or whatever it
Yeah.
happens to be. But, and I don't know. That'll be interesting to see how those kind of apps work.
I hope I'm wrong, because I want to watch Netflix with a native and Netflix experience on my Vision Pro. But all this to say, I was thinking about PWAs in the context of, well, maybe I can just save Netflix as a web app to my Vision Pro home screen. But that won't be possible in Vision OS 1.0. And I will be shocked if Vision OS 2, which I assume is going to be introduced to WWDC, doesn't allow for PWA creation from Safari to circumvent this very problem.
As a way of filling the gap, right?
Maybe even as an update, like even before 2.0.
Yeah,
it's just Safari, and Safari supports PWAs now, so why not?
Yeah, exactly. And I think for things like game streaming, that's another good option for having PWAs, is being able to stream your games from like Xbox Cloud or whatever it happens to be.
Yep. Hey, do you want to give me a quick rundown on some of the third-party apps you've seen that we should be looking forward to?
Yeah, I definitely want to do that. Let's start with kind of entertainment and media tracking apps, because I know that a lot of the apps that we've covered in the past in this category are going to be out on the Vision Pro, and it's a category that makes a lot of sense for the Vision Pro. And we're going to have apps like Long Play, which is the music player that focuses on album-oriented playing of Apple Music. We've got Play by Marcos Tanaka. That is the kind of the save for later YouTube app, although it works with more than YouTube. We talked about it the last episode with Sigmund and Devin. Sequel from Roman Lefebvre, who's doing that for Vision Pro, which is the app for, tracking what TV shows and movies and video games and books and things like that you're either consuming now or want to consume in the future. Film Noir, which is a movie tracking app, another one, as well as TV Remote, which is an app that you and I know have used in the past, which supports a bunch of modern TVs, Samsung, Sony, LG, a bunch of different models to allow you to do, control the UI of your television. That'll be available in Vision Pro, which I think is kind of an interesting use case for the Vision Pro, and I think will lend itself well to some of the gesture-based controls that we'll be seeing. And then Algorithm DJ, which is the DJ app that did get shown off, I think, during WWDC, where they had a bunch of different UIs in front of a person as they were mixing songs together, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pick and choose here from the list of other apps that we saw. Obviously, we haven't been able to try these apps because we don't have a Vision Pro. As of this recording date, we can say we're not breaking any NDA. We don't have a review unit of the Vision Pro as of Tuesday, January 16th. I was very intrigued by Crouton, the recipe manager app. The developer Crouton had this very cool idea for, I believe it's called the sizing tool. So the idea being that when you're following a recipe in Crouton, and you want to see what a recipe means by the size of a portion, you can draw in your physical space a shape that tells you how big a portion should be, like right there on your kitchen countertop or your kitchen table. And that feels like a perfect, like, sort of addition that's specific to a mixed reality environment.
Right,
where, like,
that's really cool.
You're looking at a UI, and then you're blending that UI with your physical world. Now, am I gonna be the guy who cooks while wearing a Vision Pro? Who knows, right?
I mean, either.
Crazier things have happened.
Yeah,
before.
I'm a little skeptical, but I do want to try it. I mean, I think that it's a really cool idea. I'd love to see it.
If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it alone without Sylvia.
Yeah, wait, when Sylvia's away from the house and you're making yourself lunch or something, that would probably be a good place to start. Another app that's done something similar, Federico, is Streaks, because it's not similar in the same exact way, but Streaks is the habit tracking app. And I know Quentin is working on allowing you to kind of put the streaks UI in the places where you want to perform that streak, whatever it is. Like maybe you
Ah,
put the UI on your bedside table because you want to read a book at night, or where you exercise in your home if you want to do a certain amount of exercise, whatever it is. And I think that that's kind of a cool idea, is to have those things ready for you when you go into those spaces.
that's very clever. I'm looking forward to Ice Cubes, the
Mm-hmm.
Mastodon client. Just I feel like it's gonna be very nice to just put on the Vision Pro, chill on the couch, and catch up with my Mastodon timeline. I'm pretty sure I saw that Ivory will not be there on launch day, but I'm already using Ice Cubes as my sort of fallback Mastodon client, which I also use to catch up on other timelines. Since Ivory does not support letting me open different timelines from different Mastodon servers, so yeah, I can imagine myself, just chilling there for a couple of hours on the couch, just watching YouTube, catching up on Mastodon, opening multiple windows in front of me,
Yeah.
all while wearing the Vision Pro. That's maybe this will be something that I'm gonna start doing in a couple of weeks. Yeah,
Yeah, maybe. Simon Stovering is working on Runestone too, and
perfect.
that
Markdown in Vision OS.
yeah,
So
absolutely. That's the only text editor that I know of at the moment, and as we record this, and I'm really looking forward to it. I do want to connect my keyboard and do a little writing in this. I think it'll
yeah,
be a comfortable way to do that, and
yeah.
since we're using Markdown with Obsidian, it's easy enough just to kind of access those files and edit them in Runestone instead of the Obsidian app itself, because I'm not aware if that's being worked on with Obsidian or not yet, but hopefully it will be eventually.
Yeah.
And finally, I want to mention just a couple more, Federico. I saw that Mercury Weather is going to be coming, which would be kind of cool. I don't really know much about this other than it's being worked on. I can imagine that a weather app, there could be some pretty cool stuff done with it. And I like Mercury Weather a lot. So we'll see what that team has in store for us. And I want to mention an app that I've never used before until just very recently, when I saw that they were working on a Vision OS app, which is JigSpace. And JigSpace has been around for a very long time. It is an AR app that allows you to use all kinds of demonstrate objects in 3 dimensions, whether it's for educational purposes or work purposes or whatever it is. And they're going to have that out and working where you can have that object, whatever it is. They show off things like a jet engine or a truck or whatever it happens to be in your 3D space with you. And I played with it a little bit the other day, where I was just using the iPhone's AR functionality, where I kind of designed a little drone and flew it up and down vertically in my office. And I thought that it was kind of cool on the phone, but I think it would be even cooler if you can do that in your actual living room. All right, Federico, that's it for today. Soon
All
enough, we
right.
will be actually trying these apps. I'm looking forward to it. I'm very excited. I want to thank our 2 sponsors for this episode again. That's Notion and NomNom. You can find the 2 of us over at MacStories.net. We're on Mastodon. Just go to Viticci.MacStories.net and JohnVorhees.MacStories.net to follow us there. And we're on Threads and Instagram, where Federico is at Viticci. That's VITICCI. And I'm at John Voorhees. JOHNVORHWS. Talk to you next week, Federico.
Ciao, John.